Welcome to Formatting Your Paper in Chicago Style. This video will instruct you in handling the formatting of your paper for both the Notes Bibliography style of Chicago and the Author Date style of Chicago. Keep in mind that these are two separate styles and are not to be mixed with the user's whim. The Chicago Manual of Style 17th edition, OWL Writing Lab, and a Manual for Writers of Research Papers, Theses, and Dissertations by Kate Turabian describes specific aspects of each style that should be consulted when questions are not addressed in this series on Chicago Manual of Style. Formatting a Chicago paper will have many aspects that are common to both styles. A list is provided here. Notice that slides will include the phrase both styles or the inclusion of both style names. Notes Bibliography style as well as Author Date style. Like many citation styles, the student paper in both styles will have a 1-inch margin on all sides. Students using both styles should use a readable font such as Times New Roman or Arial. The body of the paper in both styles should be double-spaced, but block quotations are single-spaced with one empty line before and after the block quotation. The entire quotation is indented 1/2 inch to match a typical paragraph in the paper. The page of citations at the end of the paper uses a different name for each style. The Notes Bibliography style uses the title Bibliography at the top of the first page of citations, while the Author Date style uses the title References. Footnotes, endnotes, bibliography entries, and reference entries are single-spaced with a single line between each note or entry. Page numbers in both styles may be in the header or footer, centered or flush right. Once chosen, be consistent with the placement according to page 386 of Turabian. Begin numbering with the first page of text. Leave the title page without pagination, even though it may be counted as one. When organizing your paper, the first level of sectioning of your paper is centered and either bold or italics. The second level is centered and in regular type. The third level is flush left and in bold or italics. All levels are in headline case. The example in number 7 shows one possible choice in sectioning a paper according to page 404 of Turabian. Never end your pages with a subheading and try not to leave a line of text at the top of the page. Recreate all special characters, diacritical marks, etc. using another font for that character if necessary. All font color in a paper is black for readability, especially after copying. More information about the text of a paper is available from page 415 through 416 of Turabian. All aspects of title pages in both styles are centered and in headline case, which means every important word is capitalized along with the proper nouns. In both styles, the title and subtitle, if present, are in bold, centered, and in headline case, beginning 1/3 of the way down the page. Several lines below that title give the student name, followed by the course number, a colon, and then the course name, followed by the date. Remember to center all parts of the title page. In case you are unfamiliar with the Notes Bibliography style of Chicago, notice the raised numbers in the text that refer to notes at either the bottom of the page, footnotes, or at the end of the paper, endnotes. Notice that the first lines of footnotes and endnotes are indented, as with a paragraph. Also, though the proper format is shown, different word processing programs might embellish this format by also adding the superscript in the footnote or endnote. Your professor can let you know if these embellishments may be kept. When using Notes Bibliography style, a full footnote or endnote is required on the first note of a mentioned source on a page. If, however, you need to cite the same source again on the same page, it may be shortened as shown. For more information about shortening a note or endnote, consult page 164 through 66 of Turabian. Only the last name is used, followed by a comma, up to 4 words of the title, formatted as in the full note, followed by a comma, then the page is cited, end with a period. In Notes Bibliography style, at the end of your paper, students will have a bibliography. Note that the word bibliography appears centered at the top of your paper. Skip 2 lines before beginning your first bibliography entry. The entries are single-spaced with an empty line separating each entry. Note that a bibliography is often in alphabetical order by the author's last name. If you have 2 entries with the same author or authors, continue to alphabetize by title, ignoring any initial articles such as a, an, or the. Note also that bibliographies use a hanging indent, which means that the first line of the entry is flush left with all remaining lines of the entry indented. This is an animation for creating hanging indents in Microsoft Word. Word processing programs often have a special setting for a hanging indent. If you are using EndNotes, create a separate page before the bibliography page called the Notes page, using the same format as the bibliography page. Keep in mind that entries on a Notes page will format as a note and not a bibliography entry, according to page 411 of Turabian. The other type of Chicago style is called author date style. Notice that parenthetical references are used instead of footnotes or endnotes. In author date style, the collection of references in the back of the paper is called the references page. Begin with the word references centered at the top of the page. Skip 2 lines and begin your references in alphabetical order by author's last name, and then by date, if you have multiple entries with the same author. In both Notes Bibliography style and author date style, Chicago will abbreviate works on a bibliography or references page that have the same author or set of authors or editors. This is different from other types of abbreviations found in Chicago, such as notes or endnotes that appear on the same page. As shown in the slide, in both Chicago styles, the first entry with duplicate authors or sets of authors or editors is written out in full. When alphabetizing the entries, the entry that comes immediately after substitutes 3 em dashes or 6 hyphens for the author portion, followed by a period. Or if the authors are editors, a comma, a space, and ed period, or eds period if there is more than one editor. In the author date style, recognition of the same author as well as the same year is arranged in alphabetical order, then secondarily arranged by title. Also, a letter A, B, or C is placed after the date for as many times as you have entries of the same author and year. This letter also appears in the parenthetical reference in the paper. Notice finally that both styles allow for changes particular to a university or department policy. Always defer to your professor when there is a conflict between Chicago style and your professor. Chicago Manual of Style allows for sources that are not cited to appear in the bibliography or references page. For more information about these types of citation lists, consult page 155 and 228 of Turabian. While the Chicago Manual of Style edition includes important context with both Notes Bibliography and Author Date Style, the OWL Writing Lab website and a manual for writers of research papers, theses, and dissertations by Kate Turabian focus on the student paper in particular and become vital tools when writing your paper in an academic setting. Also note, this Chicago series describes student papers. Professional papers have separate and additional elements not covered in this video. If you would like more information about Chicago Manual of Style, please contact the Writing Center on the 3rd floor of Glickman Library or the Library Reference Department at 780-4272 or through our Ask a Librarian service. Thanks so much for your time and attention.